So people are asking me, what are my thoughts on Trump winning the election and how exactly is that going to impact Section 8 housing, Section 8 investors? What effect is that going to have on Section 8 landlords? They want to know, and people are really concerned. And in my opinion, I don't think it's going to have an impact. I mean, for one, people are forgetting Trump has already been in office. This isn't his first rodeo. He's been in office for 4 years already. And during his time in office, it was business as usual. Section 8 landlords were getting paid. Section 8 investors were still investing. And in fact, while he was in office during COVID, being a Section 8 landlord was probably the safest landlord you could be at the time. Tenants didn't have to pay rent. Landlords couldn't evict. Landlords had to file forbearance. It was like literally insane. Even with Airbnb hosts, tenants were taking advantage of Airbnb investors. They'd move in and they couldn't get them out. I think I read some story in California. Some lady stayed like a year and the owner couldn't get them out of the property. It was crazy. And us Section 8 landlords, we was looking at everybody else as if this was the Wild Wild West. We were just looking at y'all like, wow, this is crazy. Meanwhile, we're getting paid on time every single month in full. If a tenant lost their job, guess what? The housing authority would pay the whole rent. It was a really good time for us, and rent prices were going through the roof. So a lot of landlords were getting rent increases. And this was all during Trump's first term. So I don't think it's going to be a big difference. I think it's really going to be business as usual. Now, mind you, this is just my opinion, but people are really thinking that he's like a dictator. He's coming in, he's going to shake things up, and I just don't see it. I still think Section 8 investing is the safest form of residential real estate investing that there is. Say if another pandemic came, or if it was another Great Depression or a recession or something like that. Section 8 investing has proven to be recession-proof, depression-proof, pandemic-proof. It's like you just can't break it. It is what it is. And if you're unfamiliar with how Section 8 investing works, let me explain. So I'm not going to do a complete deep dive into it. I do have a free webinar, Section 8 investing webinar, that you can check out. The link is in the description. It's free. You can check that out. And also I have a New Year's resolution sale for the course and coaching program. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, so with Section 8 investing, pretty much in a nutshell, this is how it works. You find your local housing authority's website. You can Google it. So Prince George's County Housing Authority, and go to their payment standards. Look at their payment standards. This is what I do. And then I find the top zip codes that I want to invest in. Me personally, I don't try to invest in zip codes that pay the least, because usually those aren't the better neighborhoods. I want to invest in the top ones and the upper middle ones. So I look at the top zip codes, Prince George's County. Most of those are in Bowie, Maryland, pretty much. So I'm gonna go to realtor.com, type in Bowie, Maryland, and see what pops up. And bam, here's one for $299,000, and that's unheard of in Bowie, Maryland. It's a townhouse, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Just got listed too. Fixer upper, just like I like them. Matter of fact, let's go check this out. It's Christmas Eve. I'm supposed to be spending time with the family, and y'all got me out here looking at houses. Something like this is a fixer-upper, just the type of properties I usually go for. They say this is a 3-bedroom. It's actually a 2-bedroom, and the third would be in the basement if the basement isn't finished. So that's where the third one would be. But the gist of Section 8 investing, find a location, then you find a property in the location. Check out the property, run the numbers on it, see if it makes sense. Put this in the Section 8 rental analyzer, which is available to all course members. This property will cash flow over $800, like $870. But that's with 3 bedrooms. In the current state, it is a 2-bedroom. So you have to put the money into it. Well, it's a fixer-upper, so you have to do that anyway. Probably $30,000, maybe a little more. Especially since the basement isn't done. But yeah, I usually do like these properties because you can put the money into it. You buy it down here, put the money into it, and the value of it is raised, so you can force it to appreciate. And this property being listed under $300,000, put 30, 40 grand into it, it's gonna be worth 415, 420. So you're putting 40 into it and you're getting back 120,000 in equity. So then you have the option to cash out, refinance. I usually like to rent them since the mortgage is going to be a lot lower since the cost of the house was so cheap. So the cash flow a lot higher. But yeah, this is a pretty good deal, but it's just, I would want it to already have 3 bedrooms with the option to add a 4th in the basement. Since it's not, then it's not the deal for me. Now let's say it was the deal for me. I get this property, fix it up, get a Section 8 tenant in here, and get my guaranteed on-time payments from the housing authority. The tenant will pay 30% of their income. A lot of times people think the tenants pay 30% of the rent. No. It's 30% of the income. I even see these Section 8 gurus saying that. They pay 30% of the rent. No, they pay 30% of their income. So if the income of the tenant is 0, guess what? The tenant pays 0. And the housing authority pays all of it. Nevertheless, you get your guaranteed on-time payments, everybody's happy. And this is something that has been going on for years. This is nothing new. It's been around for years. In fact, it was established with the Housing Act of 1937. So almost been 100 years. This 37, we're going to 2025. So that's 88 years. I think that's 88 years. Almost 100 years this has been in effect. And then the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 amended the Housing Act of 1937. And this newer act is where the Housing Choice Voucher Program was formed. And it provided vouchers to households to rent on the private rental market. And today there are over 5 million voucher holders who rent through the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Now this is something that has been around. Section 8 was formed in 1937. The Housing Choice Voucher Program was formed in 1974. So this has been here for years. It's a solid foundation and I don't see it going anywhere. It's been here through recessions and depressions and pandemics and it has stayed rock solid. And I don't see this going anywhere. Business as usual. All right, so now that you know the history of Section 8 and how Section 8 works, the whole concept, you might be wondering, where should you invest? Where should you start investing? What cities make the most sense? And it really all depends. Now, I usually say if you can invest in your backyard, then do it. Within 30 to 45 minutes of where you live, if you can invest there, that is the place to start. Now, that's not always the case. That's not always possible. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's too expensive. Sometimes the rent amount, the fair market rent amounts aren't enough for it to make sense to invest where you live. And if that's the case, then you might have to invest in some of these other cities. Now, when choosing a city to invest in, usually the cities that make the most sense are the Midwestern cities and the Southeastern cities of the United States. But again, it can depend on your budget. Do you want houses that are in the 100K and under range? If you do, then you got cities like Memphis, St. Louis, you have Detroit, you have Birmingham, Alabama, there's Cleveland, Jackson, Mississippi. All of those cities are great for houses under 100K. Now, if your budget is a little more, like 100K to 200K, which is usually my range, usually the houses under 100K, I mean, they don't appreciate that much, but they can cash flow a lot. But if your budget is up to 200K, you got cities like Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston. So those are cities that I would prefer to invest. And speaking of Houston, right now I'm in Houston. I got to do some work on this property. My tenant just left, so I'm going through turnover right now. Some of you may know when I first got this property, it was some plumbing issues. At one point I was up in the attic doing some work and I accidentally sat on the a water line. It just cracked. It was just so brittle, it just cracked. Bam. Next thing you know, water is going everywhere and the ceiling just caved in. It was a big mess. But I got that fixed. But then I ordered a wash and dry from Home Depot. When he came to hook it up, bam, it cracked again as he's like tightening it up. So the plumbing pipes were like so weak and brittle. It was just like so annoying. And it was CPVC pipes through the entire house. I don't know why they were so weak and brittle. Maybe the Texas heat or something. I don't know. But I was getting tired of having these issues. And I think maybe like 3 months after the tenant moved in, it was another issue with the pipes. So she had to turn the water off. And yeah, it was just a pain. name. So I end up texting one of my course members who lives and invests in Houston. Text him because I know he had a plumber. So he gave me his plumber. Because initially I did file a claim with the home warranty company. It was going to take them, I think, like a day or two to get there. And this plumber, he could go right then and there. So I just paid because I didn't want them to keep the water off for like 2 days. So now that the property is vacant, I decided I was going to just redo the entire pipes. I wanted all that CPVC out of the house. I don't need no more issues, no more water issues with this house. So I hit my plumber up. He went, changed all the plumbing to PEX plumbing for the entire house. And this is a pretty big house. It's not huge, but it's 5 bedrooms. And he did that for me for only $3,600. He did $3,600. That is cheap if you don't know. Up here in Maryland, that would have cost, I just had a client get that priced, and it was for a small condo. And I think it came to like $10,000 to $12,000. And that's up here in Maryland. A 2-bedroom condo. $3,600 for this 5-bedroom single family home. That was a steal, man. So I got that out the way. And another thing, when I first bought this property, it was all light color carpet. Now the carpet was brand new, or it was freshly cleaned. Usually I don't like light color carpet because it's just gonna get messed up. But I didn't want to go in there and just change all the carpet. There was nothing wrong with the carpet. So I said, once the tenant moves in, when they move out, then I'll change the carpet. So this tenant has moved out, and I decided to rip all the carpet up and replace it with luxury vinyl flooring. That's my go-to. So now I'm pretty much in the process of replacing the entire property with luxury vinyl. Almost done with the floor. This is what we have left. All we got to do is the garage part. One thing that makes it very easy to manage out-of-state properties, for one, I have a home warranty, and it's specifically for reasons like this. Let me show you. So the lighting is pretty bad in here, but so up there, the AC in this property goes through the attic. And I don't even think the tenant noticed this, but it was leaking in the closet. Like you see some mold right there, but it was some mold up here. And they probably didn't notice it because how often do people come in the closet and look up? But I noticed it when I was in here doing some work. And I cut it out and I saw that it was coming from the AC unit because this is running from up there. And so something like that, say if the tenant did notice it, I would be able to put in a claim with the home warranty company. They'd send somebody over, address the issue, see what's going on, and that would be covered in the home warranty. You know what else would be covered? The drywall that has to be replaced with all the mold. So they cover that as well. It just makes it a lot easier if you're managing an out-of-state property, having a home warranty, having that, and having companies like Turbotenant and Hemlane. So companies like Turbotenant and Hemlane, they make it a lot easier for landlords to manage out-of-state properties. With Turbotenant, they have Maintenance Plus, where if the tenant has any issues, they'll let you know, you can put in a claim, and guess what? A professional will be over there, they'll address the issue, fix what needs to be fixed. As owners, we'll have a set budget that they can't go over. If it gotta go over that budget, then they have to call us and let us know. If not, then they could just fix it and they'll just take it off of our credit card. The process is really simple, and it makes it so much easier to manage these out-of-state properties. It's not like the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, or even the early 2000s where you had to get a property manager. I mean, those days is almost coming to an end. They're taking too much money. They take 10% of the gross rent. So this place down in Houston, say it's getting me $2,400. That's $240 every single month I would have to pay to the property management company. Now, say if I didn't have any issues for the 6 months. So I done paid $240 every single month for 6 months, and there's been no issues. And the price of Maintenance Plus, that's less than 1 month that I would have paid for the property management company. So, and that protects me for the entire year. So it just makes more sense for me to manage my own properties. So if you want to sign up with a company like Turbotenant, use the link in the bio. I'm partners with them, so you can use my affiliate link. Unfortunately, as of right now, I don't think Turbotenant's Maintenance Plus is offered in all 50 states. Hemlane, they do the same thing. Sorry, Turbotenant, I'm promoting your competitor, but it is what it is. I think Hemlane, they're in all 50 states. They do the same thing. You can sign up with them. If Turbotenant's Maintenance Plus is not in your state, again, sorry, Turbotenant. I know we partners, but the people are trying to find another company that offers those same services. I mean, you got Hemlane. And shout out to Moses, the mentor. He the one who put me on the Hemlane. Big shout out to him. Appreciate it, bruh. And real quick, I have a New Year's resolution sale on the Section 8 Investors course and coaching program. You can get $175 off the course and coaching program. This is the biggest sale that I have offered yet. I don't know how long it's going to be, but this is something that I do because I want to help you guys. I enjoy the consultations. I enjoy helping people with their properties, and that's the New Year's resolution sale. Coupon code 2025. Get $175 off the Section 8 Investors course and coaching program.